Shalom. Welcome to Empowerment of Faith Kingdom Center for Ambassadors. I am Dr. Renee, and I am elated to be able to come before you today. And for those who are watching on our social media platform, if you're on YouTube, remember to like, remember to subscribe, and also share. And if you're on other platforms, do the same thing. We are definitely glad that you are joining us over and over again. All right, so today I want to talk to you about a touchy subject. So before I get started, let me give a disclaimer that I am not a medical doctor. I am not, but I do know that there are things that we need to change. So we're going to talk about dietary suicide among believers. Dietary suicide among believers. And guess what? We need to overcome these food addictions. So let's get right into it. So I have a couple of hashtags that I want you to hashtag just to let me know that you are listening and you're attentive and all that good stuff. But I do want to make some points with it. The first hashtag is overcome food addictions. Yes, we must do this because, well, first of all, it's hashtag overcome food addiction. I must be in control. I cannot allow food to control me. Here's the next hashtag, stop dietary suicide. Did you know that when you do not control what you're eating, you're actually killing yourself? When you are not controlling what you're putting in your body and you're doing whatever your body wants and giving it whatever it wants, that's dietary suicide. We've got to stop it. Here's another one, another hashtag. No more food addictions. No more. Hashtag healthy living and then hashtag food revival. We've been talking about a spiritual revival, but what about a food revival? It's time to change. It's time to make some changes. And if we don't make the change, we're going to end up going to heaven a little bit quicker. Okay, I just said it. All right, so in Yochanan, Gamil 1, it reads, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be healthy, even as your soul prospers. Well, we don't want to overlook that. The word is telling us that he wants us, Elohim wants us to prosper in all things, not just in our spiritual lives, not just financially, but in every aspect. It says in all things and be healthy even as your soul prospers. We know that our soul is comprised of our mind, our will, and our emotions. So the Father, he's concerned about every aspect of our lives. So we have to take a closer look and see exactly what is it that Elohim wants us to change in our life. Well, everything must line up according to his word. Many times we try to focus on just the outside, but what about the inside? We know that we must change the way that we think. I've seen people, and I've helped several people over and over again, trying to break certain habits. Well, these certain habits will not change unless I change the way that I think, change the way that I'm looking at this particular topic. So instead of just looking on the outside, look at this, to lose weight, we have to, and those who are just focusing on the outward appearance, we need to look inwardly. So I have to change my source of thought. We're going to hear this word change over and over again because it's ridiculous to think that I'm going to get a certain result, but I'm doing things habitually that's causing my life or the outcome to be one that is not beneficial to myself or even those who are connected to me. See, when I abuse myself, it's not just affecting me, but it's affecting my children. It's affecting my family. It's affecting, if I'm working on the job, it's affecting those that are working with me because I'm having to call in and then somebody else have to bear my load. Or if you're an entrepreneur, if you're sick, how are you going to take care of your family? So we have to do things intentionally to change and make things happen the way that we want them to happen, which is by the word of Elohim. How am I going to make this thing happen? I'm saying that I want a different result, but I'm still doing the same thing over and over again. Okay, that's not going to work. So I need to ask myself, what's my motive? What's my motive? Why do I want to lose weight? Why do I want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds? Who's going to benefit from it? Well, first of all, I've got to do this because this is what I need to do. I need to do this for myself, not just so that I could look so sexy, not just so that I could flaunt myself and show my curves and things of that nature. We have gotten away, we've gotten so far away from it. If the truth is in our face, we wouldn't even know it. So let's look at the kingdom keys or the principles of the kingdom keys. Okay, the kingdom keys principles. The keys of the kingdom are the principles, the precepts, laws, and systems by which the kingdom functions. The keys must be learned and applied by the citizens in order to appropriate the benefits and privileges to their lives. In order for me to receive the benefits, I'm talking about the full benefits, because the word tells us that above all, he wants us to prosper and be in good health, even as our soul prospers. Well, in order for me to receive the benefits of a kingdom ambassador, I need to make sure that I have things lined up and that I'm not just doing things so that I can feel good about myself, but I'm doing it because this is going to benefit my body. I desire to be healthy because I desire to live a long, productive life. It's not enough for me to be 90 years old and I can't even get around because I've abused my body over and over again for the number of years. So it says that the keys must be learned and applied in order to appropriate the benefits. Well, there are several laws that I am violating when I abuse my body. I'm violating the law of management. I'm violating the law of use. I'm violating just so many principles. So this is what's causing me to self-destruct or causing myself to just go along this path of dietary suicide. But you know what? I have made up my mind that I'm not going to abuse myself. I'm going to give my body the fuel that it needs. Okay, so we were talking about a revival, and let's ask ourselves this question: where do I stand? Let's look at the stat. The U.S. Adult obesity rate stands at 42.4%. The first time the national rate has passed the 40% mark, and further evidence of the country's obesity crisis. Did you know that we're in a crisis? Many people were talking about the plandemic, and I purposely said plandemic. We're not going to deal with that right now. But many people are talking about the plandemic, but what about this crisis that we are already in? Did you know during the time of the plandemic that most of the people that were dying, they already had pre-existing conditions such as diabetes, such as high cholesterol, such as being overweight, obese, things of this nature. So a certain, the jab, I'll just call it that because we're being highly censored, the jab was pushed and several people decided to do that or to take the jab. But what if healthy living was pushed? The way that when you turn the television on and there were commercials that were really almost trying to brainwash people. I was like, man, wouldn't it be amazing if that was pushed? Well, then if healthy living was pushed, then the pharmaceutical industry would definitely be impacted by that. Okay, so yeah, we know that certain people have to keep customers, so that agenda is not going to be pushed. But as a kingdom ambassador, I must push what the Father is pushing. His word has already said that he above all, he wants us to prosper and be in good health, So this is important to him. We've been overlooking it. We've been shouting, dancing, running all over the place, turning around, doing flips. But what about your health? What about your health? So let's take another look at this. Here are some more shocking facts. Number one, obesity now, it affects the pets. Wait a minute, we're not just abusing our bodies, but we're taking it out on the pets too. So I don't know how to control what I'm eating. So now I'm overfeeding the pets. Okay, that's terrible. Number two, almost 30% of all USA adults would be too fat to serve in the armed forces. Now, when I say that word fat, some people, they're like, oh, I can't believe she just said that. I mean, it's to the point now, we can't even say the word fat, but I'm going to say it. Somebody needs to say it because enough is enough. We've got to change. We have to make a change. Number three, if all obese Americans lived in one state, it would be the 12th most populous state. Number four, snacking. Oh my goodness. Snacking started after World War II and is now one of the biggest causes of obesity. I've heard this. Well, I don't really eat bad. I just snack all day. What are you snacking on? I mean, if you're snacking on celery all day, you good to go. But if you're snacking on this, that, and the other that is contrary to what your body needs, it's not going to work. It is not going to work. So yes, you're not hungry, you're thirsty. Drink water. Number five, hunger pains are in the mind and not in the stomach. Okay, so this point is right on spot on what I was just talking about. Hunger pains are in the mind and not in the stomach. Many times our body will give us signals that we're hungry, but are we really hungry? In most cases, we're dehydrated and we need to drink up, drink spring water, drink electrolytes. All right, number six, scientists believe obesity needs to be tackled from before the age of 5. That's a whole lesson in itself. When we're talking about conquering obesity and making sure that our children are growing in the admonition of Yahweh, when we're talking about that, it starts at a young age. So if my precept is wrong, then I'm going to be a prisoner of my misconceptions. We've been saying it, but we haven't applied it as related to our health. If my precepts, if I'm looking at this thing wrong, if my source of thought, my source of information, if my foundation is wrong, then when it comes to my children, when it comes to my family, when it comes to my husband, I'm going to begin to serve them junk. But it tells us here, this has to be dealt with before the age of 5. Before the age of 5. And we already know that most adults that are obese will have children who are obese. It's not something that I'm saying. These are stats that we're talking about. Okay, so let's look at another stat. In the United States, the percentage of children and adolescents affected by obesity has more than tripled since the 1970s. In 2017 and 2018, an estimated 19.3% of U.S. children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 years have obesity, but this rate varied by race and ethnicity. It was 25.6% for Hispanic children, 24.2% for Black children, 16.1% for white children, and 8.7% for Asian children. Many factors contribute to childhood obesity, and then it goes on to list. I just want to say this. When I was growing up, there is one thing that I vividly remember. When I was growing up, and it was during the summertime, my mom would say, either you're going to stay in or you're going to stay out. And then most of the time we chose to stay out. We weren't going back and forth in the house. But number two, we were out playing. We didn't have computers like the computers are here now, and the games are here now, where the children aren't as active. And the only type of activity they would get would be at recess. Oh, absolutely not. We had recess at home. We had recess almost all day, because our parents back then, they were not allowing us to stay stuck up in a room all day and just snacking all day, watching TV, playing the game, being on the computer, watching YouTube. No, we were outside and we were active, and we were doing all sorts of activities. And guess what? We weren't as obese as children are today. So we have to get a hold of it. And then when we talk about genetics, we know that genetics plays a factor, but also activity, how active you are, what you're doing in your community. It says here, short sleep duration, all of these are factors, and even negative childhood events. This comes from the CDC Gov website. Sometimes I get things from them. We can trust them on some stuff. But anyway, so not only when I'm deciding that I'm making a change in the way that I'm eating, I have to go back and look, well, what was normal to me may not be normal at all. What was acceptable when I was a child, eating certain food for breakfast like eggs, bacon, and grits. Now, for you, that may be acceptable as far as growing up. But when you go back and look at it, is that really the best health choice? Have you ever considered eating a salad for breakfast? I've done it several times, smoothies for breakfast. We have to change what we call normal. I mean, eggs, bacon, grits, waffles, pancakes, I call those killer breakfasts. We've got to change it. In order for me to get different results, I've got to do something differently. I've got to change what I'm putting in my body, and I have to change the way I look at food. Food is fuel to my body. Food is not something that's just going to give me pleasure and, oh my goodness, we'll talk about that later when we talk about how food releases dopamine. But the food that I'm consuming should fuel my body. All right, so let's look at the next note. Dealing with, we were talking about how we need to conquer addictions. Well, one addiction that is highly overlooked, well, not just one, but high fructose corn syrup and sugar addictions. Both of these are impacting children, adults, everybody, and it's controlling how people are thinking. You think that you want a certain thing, but it's not really you that's wanting it. It's that sugar that's calling for it. It's the chemical, which is a high fructose corn syrup, is commanding your body to do certain things, and you're wanting to conquer, and you're wanting to just lose weight. Well, there are things that have to be done to break these addictions. So high fructose corn syrup, it's not the same as corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is a chemical, and this chemical makes you think that you are still hungry when in actuality you're full. This chemical, I want you to check your cabinets today. I want you to check your labels. I want you to just go crazy with it. Just read every label in your cabinet and look at the contents, look at the ingredients, and see if you see the words high fructose corn syrup, or you may see HFC. Okay, so if you see that in there, Whatever that thing is, take it and throw it in the trash. You'll see that most things that are consumed that we didn't even have any idea that it was in there, it's right in there, such as the pictures that's showing right now, such as some of the snacks, crackers, and I think I have a list later on, but a whole bunch of stuff: crackers, cookies, jams, ketchup, just relish, things that you never even thought that it would be in. If you want to make a change, start reading the labels and start throwing that trash in the trash, and that's where it should go. All right, so here are some of the effects of high fructose corn syrup. All right, so here it is. High fructose corn syrup and sugar contains fructose and glucose. Your body metabolizes fructose differently than glucose, and consuming too much of fructose can lead to health problems. Number one, it increases the risk of the fatty liver disease. Number two, it increases risk of obesity and weight gain. The availability of high fructose corn syrup and sugar has also increased the average daily calorie intake, and that is a key factor in weight gain. Research suggests people now consume over 500 calories per day from sugar on average, which may be 300% more than 50 years ago. Let's talk about that just for a moment. 50 years ago, there were not so many products or things that were so readily available at the fingertips to consume high fructose corn syrup and sugar. It wasn't readily available. Now, when you go in the grocery stores, especially when you're shopping within the middle of the grocery store, we always encourage that you shop on the outskirts of the grocery store so that you can get your healthy raw fruits, vegetables, and the proper types of meats. And I want to interject this before I forget. When we begin to talk about food, we want to make sure that we convey that certain foods, it does not make you more let's see, where's the word it doesn't make you more holy. There it is. Because there are people who are talking and trying to push the agenda of the dietary laws and things of that nature. No. Eating certain foods will not make you more holy. This is not the aspect that we were talking about. We have to go back. When we're talking about laws, we're not talking about religious laws. We're talking about the kingdom law that governs us as kingdom ambassador. So as a kingdom ambassador, I need to make sure that I'm putting in the right things, the right food in my body, not so that it will make me more righteous and more holy. No, we're not coming from that aspect at all. So we were talking about high fructose corn syrup and how years and years ago, how it wasn't so readily available. The other day when I was in the grocery store and I noticed at the checkout, it was loaded, just loaded with just junk. And also notice that the junk is in the eye range of not just adults, but children also. This is strategic. Can I give you one thing that will help you? One thing that will be beneficial to some if you're having a hard time controlling that and just grabbing stuff and putting it in your shopping cart, consider doing an online shopping. Do that. Consider doing a pickup, a grocery pickup. That way you don't even have to go in the store. Okay, yeah. Try that way. And then if you see some junk in your cart, you just throw it out. All right. So let's look at this. The next note. Foods likely to contain high fructose corn syrup. Here are some of them. Unfortunately, high fructose corn syrup has crept into so many foods, it's becoming more and more difficult to avoid. Next time you go to the supermarket, check out the nutritional labels. We just said this. Okay, here are some: soft drinks, fruit flavored beverages, jams and syrups, frozen foods. Now that's a new one. I had no idea. I'm gonna have to check it. Fruit canned in syrup, bread, fruit flavored yogurt, frozen yogurt, popsicles, ketchup and barbecue sauces, salad dressings, jarred pasta sauce, canned soup, breakfast cereals, and other processed foods. If you find that high fructose corn syrup is one of the top ingredients on the nutrition label, this food isn't your best choice. Okay, so we have the opportunity to control what we are putting in our bodies. Of course, we always highly recommend, if you can grow your own food, that's always best, because you don't have to deal with the excess chemicals. That food, the food in the grocery store, it looks amazing. It absolutely does. But many times the soil is just packed and sprayed with so many chemicals. You definitely have to wash it with a particular solution, but we're not going to deal with all of that. But I do want to say that if you can grow your own food, definitely do that, or support a local farmer. Well, I mean, people will give you excuses about everything, but your why must be bigger than your greater excuse. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to be healthy? Well, the last time I checked, there was no sickness in heaven. The last time I checked now, it's something, no, nothing has changed. All right, so let's look at our next note. So here are 6 ways to avoid or limit the intake of high fructose corn syrup. Number 1, choose whole grain breakfast cereals rather than highly sweetened versions if you have to have cereal. I don't even push cereal. I do push smoothies. I do push, eating raw fruits and vegetables for breakfast. I do push that. All right. Number 2, if you have to snack on whole foods such as nuts. It says dried fruits. We have to be really careful with the dried fruits because of the sugar content. So I don't really, I don't really support that particular point. I was copying this off of a note that I got off of the internet. So you got to be careful with that also. Dried fruits, but raw vegetables, absolutely. And number 3, go for home baked sweet foods rather than store-bought cakes, donuts, and cookies. So bake your own stuff. At least you know what you're putting in it. Number 4, choose fresh whole produce most of the time, such as fruit and vegetables. Number 5, limit processed foods and foods that contain added sugar. Let me deal with this processed foods. So we know that a lot of people are going through a health kick. And guess what? Marketing knows that too. So do not be deceived when dealing with processed foods, even if it says that it's vegan or if it says that it's vegetarian processed food. Can I tell you this? Processed foods, it's processed foods. Okay, so of course, it may be more healthy to choose something with less sodium, but we really want to try to avoid processed food as much as possible. Those things that are pre-packaged and, that's so readily available. No. Processed foods, it's damaging. It does still cause obesity, weight gain, things of that nature. So we really have to make sure that we're watching that. So when everybody was going through this health thing, the marketer said, okay, so now they want to go healthy. Okay, so let's just make it convenient and put it in a package that they'll buy. But it's still full of sodium. I mean, you have enough sodium in it to help you out for the entire week. And we're going overboard with the sodium. We have to really watch that. All right, number 6, avoid sodas, processed fruit juices. Instead, go for water, tea, or reduced fat milk. Okay, so the milk that of my choice, we usually do oat milk, okay, and then some almond milk. But as far as cow's milk, nope, we don't do that. All right, so these are just a few things that I wanted to share with you concerning healthy eating. In order for me to get better results, I've got to make sure that I'm controlling what I'm putting in my body. You have that opportunity to make the change. When we're dealing with making a change as far as related to our health, I always say before we make this change, always go before the Father and present this to Him. We need to go before Him, consecrate ourselves, turn from what we were already doing, go before Him and examine ourselves. Let the Father show us so that we can see the things that need to be broken in our lives. Because many times we think that, oh, it's okay, it's okay. I've helped several people over and over for a number of years. And do you know, it is a very, it's pretty hard to help people who want to defend the very thing that's causing them to be obese. Like, oh, I can't work out. I can't do it. They will give you every reason why they can't work out, but find a way out of no way to continue abusive habits and abusive ways. Talking about self-abusive habits and ways against their own body. So when you get ready to help somebody and they give you an excuse, it's not so much that they're talking, but it's that stronghold that have that person bound, that's speaking against that, trying to come up against that. You know what? One thing for sure, the Father will never override our will. He will never do it. So our goal is to make sure that we can be the healthiest version of ourselves. In our mind, we want to make sure that we're thinking about good things. The thoughts of the righteous are pure. We want to make sure that we're putting in good things in our body and making the best choices for our body. Because we say that we want to be blessed and receive the benefits as a kingdom ambassador. But if I'm abusing my body, I'm not even going to be here to receive the benefits. Somebody else is going to receive those benefits. So you're giving yourself a death wish. So I'm wrapping it up. I'm almost out of time. I wanted to just say one more thing, and that is, as a leader, as a kingdom ambassador, am I leading in every area? Am I leading in every area, or am I just trying to prophesy about everything else? Well, what am I doing? No, the scales got to be balanced. No. We have to examine ourselves. And then you can skip down to note 21, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. Note number 21. Food is fuel for the body. Eating certain foods do not make you more righteous. Eating food to make you feel better is an unhealthy view of eating. Not eating food or fasting does not make you more righteous. Okay, and then skip to number 23. Healthy view of eating. Number one, food is to fuel my body. Number two, I am to maintain portion control even when others are not watching. So if I go to a buffet, I still need to maintain portion control. What's the purpose of going to a buffet? Going to the buffet to fuel my body, if I decide to go to a buffet. Number three, I control my emotions. Food does not control me. Number four, eating healthy meals is important to me. So I'm changing the way that I'm viewing this thing. I'm not just going to find something quick and fast and just pop it in and warm it up, or stop at a fast food restaurant because it's convenient. No, I'm going to prepare my food prepared in mind with the healthiest version of what I can for myself and for those that I am serving in my household. All right, number 5, providing healthy meals for my family is equally important to me. And number 6, I make wise choices and prepare food ahead of time when I'm preparing my healthy meals. All right, so this is the last scripture that I want to give on today. Galatians 5:7. You are running a good race. Who cut in on you to keep you from obeying the truth? That kind of persuasion does not come from the one who calls you. A little yeast works through the whole batch of dough. I am confident in Yahweh that you will take no other view. The one who is throwing you into confusion, whoever they may be, will have to pay the penalty. Make sure that you're not throwing yourself in confusion. Make sure that you are choosing the best food for yourself and the best food for your family. Make sure that you're taking time out to exercise at least 30 minutes out of the day, walking back and forth, doing the different type of exercises. And then also, if you're at the point where you can lift weights, that's absolutely wonderful. Do whatever it takes to make sure that you are building your body up. We want to make sure that we are balanced as a kingdom ambassador. So thank you so much for watching today. And remember that Elohim, he has a plan for your life, and none of his plans includes defeat. Be blessed and shalom to you.